Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Barrel Zone once more time. This week we are doing our daily schedule, breaking down the whole NBA and then the whole MLB slate. We have tons of games. I'm trying to speed things up a bit. Thanks for tuning in as always. We will get right into it. If you want to tell my plays, you can go to patreon.com/the Barrel Zone. If you have any feedback, you know where to find me on Twitter at the Barrel Zone. So, starting with NBA, as always, first game on the docket, Indiana Pacers at the Utah Jazz. Current line is 9.5 on Bet365. I make this one 10 with the expected injuries. Indiana Pacers have Turner as questionable. I have him as like half out. That's factored in my number at -10. For the Jazz, Favors is doubtful. I don't think he will play. And Clarkson is likely back after a 4-game absence with an ankle issue. I'm completely fine with the line. I think this is a pretty difficult matchup for the Pacers. Jazz are fourth in offensive rebounding, second in defensive rebounding, and the Pacers are just 23rd and 28th in overall rebounding. Utah also an extra rest here. They are ninth in free throw rate offensively, defensively giving up the second least, while the Pacers grading 24th and 21st in free throw rate on both sides of the ball. Pacers getting to the rim at the second highest rate, but they are just 23rd in field goal percentage in the paint, while the Jazz are a borderline top 5 defense there. So yeah, I think matchup really favors the Jazz. They are the better team. Obviously, Pacers also a terrible 3-point defense, which is bad against the team that's putting up the most threes in the league, and they are top 3 in field goal percentage also. LA Clippers at the Philadelphia 76ers. Clippers laying 1.5 to 2 points. It's basically a -2. That's my number as well. I kind of like both of these teams. I think both could make a run in the postseason. This could be even a finals preview. I think these two are kind of slapped on a bit. Everyone's talking about your Brooklyns and Denvers and Lakers. But yeah, I think these are right up there. Questionables for this game. Harris for Philadelphia is questionable with a sore right knee. I think he is likely going to play. He usually plays through these. For the Clippers, Ibaka and Beverly are still out, and Kawhi is questionable. So basically, we have Harris on questionable on one side and Kawhi on the other. Obviously, Kawhi is the more important player for his team. This would be close to a pick'em to start with. So basically, Philly is just a 2-point favorite because of Kawhi being the more important questionable piece than Harris. No back-to-backs for either team. I think they both have very strong rebounding, good free throw rates. Slightly leaning towards Philly, to be honest. They are the top defense against mid-range jumpers. They allow the lowest field goal percentage. Clippers are putting up the 6th most in the entire league. Clippers are 24th in field goal percentage allowed against mid-range shots on the other end, and Philly is also like spamming those at a pretty high rate. So I think the matchup slightly favors Philly here, and especially even if Kawhi plays and if he's not 100%, that will hurt them. But I don't think they will risk him. I think even like Harris is more likely to play than Leonard, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Philly. I make this -2 at the moment, but we have those two questionables. OKC at Detroit. Please don't bet on this game. Detroit lost 3 straight. They have the 3rd worst record in the league. OKC lost 8 straight with the 5th worst record in the league. Huge injuries on both sides. Detroit without Grant, Plumlee, Ellington. OKC without SGA, Muscala, Pokusevski. This is not really a good look for either team. Both are tanking. Please don't try to bet this game. New Orleans Pelicans at the Washington Wizards. Pelicans laying 2 points on the road. I make this between 2 and 2.5, so I completely agree with the line. On paper, if you look at season-long stats, this looks like a great matchup for the Pelicans. They are second in offensive rebounding, fourth in free throw rate, while The Wizards are just 16th and 26th in the 27th in these two stats. Sorry. But the Wizards have been kind of improving. In the last 2 weeks, they are the 10th best defense in points per possession allowed. They have been actually way better on the defensive rebounding end, which has been one of their main issues early in the season. And the Pelicans can be really slowed down if you just don't let them get the easy offensive rebounds. Wizards also third in free throw rate. I think they are kind of improving. They are now smelling blood with the Bulls being without Levine for 2 weeks. They are sitting in the 11th seed in the East right now, the Wizards, and I think they can get into the play-in tournament by finishing 10th. On paper, as I said, it's a good matchup for the Pelicans, as they are also a decent defense against mid-range jumpers, and Washington is putting up the most in the league. And then the Wizards defense just grading 22nd in the paint against a team that's getting to the rim at the highest rate in the league. 42% of all the shots of New Orleans are coming within 4 feet of the rim. I think the Washington's offense isn't efficient enough normally, but they had some nice outings recently, win over Utah, and with the defensive rebounding improvements and overall defensive improvements, I'm staying away here. I think this line is completely fair, and I kind of feel that these two are maybe heading into different directions, and I don't like what I see from the Pelicans recently, but the Wizards are kind of promising as a lower-end Eastern playoff team. Charlotte Hornets at the Brooklyn Nets, another game that we are going to skip. For the Hornets, Ball, Hayward, Washington, Graham, and Monk are all out. The expected starting lineup is Rozier, Martin, Bridges, McDaniels, and Biyombo. That's not an NBA team, in my opinion. 13.5 is the spread. Brooklyn will win this one easily. Orlando Magic at the Toronto Raptors. Another game we are skipping. Toronto, they don't have any back-to-backs in sight, and they are resting Siakam, Lowry, also out Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Bembry Harris, and basically they play no one. And this should be an easily winnable game against one of the worst teams in the league. And they just decided not to try anymore, in my opinion. 11th seed right now, the Raptors tied with the Wizards, but the Wizards are kind of trying. And as I said, the 10th seed Bulls just lost Levine for a few weeks. I'm kind of thinking the Wizards are getting to the play-in spot. I don't think the Raptors are trying. This is really a tanking effort, and I cannot say it any different way. I think they should be fine, to be honest. Memphis at the Bulls. Bulls getting 3.5 points right now. I think they should be 4.5. This is one of my edges on the board. So Memphis only laying 3.5. Most shops have -4s. I've seen some -4.5s already. I think Memphis will be the side people are lining up to bet. They have better rebounding, way better free throw rate. The Bulls defense is second to last in field goal percentage allowed against mid-range shots. Bulls lost 4 straight games. Loving out now for 2 weeks, as I said. He tested positive for COVID. For Memphis, usual guys are out. Melton and Winslow, and Brandon Clark is questionable. But I think they really do have the momentum on their side, and they are kind of playing good basketball recently. They have a plus 10 point differential in the last 2 weeks, and they are grading as the second best offense in the league in points per possession and the 15th defense, which is perfectly okay if you have such a strong offense to go with. So in the last 2 weeks, they have a 10-point better point differential than the Bulls. That's a lot, and I'm kind of believing in Memphis being like a decent play-in team, and I just don't see anything from the Bulls right now. And Lavin's COVID issue is really concerning for them. I think they will lose the play-in spot. Miami at Minnesota, 6.5 is the spread. Maybe Miami will get it going. I'm still not feeling what they are doing right now. Threes are not falling. They are not attacking the rim at the rate they should. They have a bunch of issues. Some guys are looking like old or tired. This is an older team, maybe the last season's playoff run and this season starting soon, just showing its store. But I'm not really liking anything I see from them. I make this 6.5 is the spread, not getting involved, but the Timberwolves are the worst defense against three-pointers in the league. So theoretically, this is a good matchup. These are not guys that will shut down Hero or Robinson. I think maybe Miami will finally have a good shooting day here. We will see. I think the spread at 6.5 is perfectly fair. Minnesota won a few games in the last few weeks, and they are now just a half game ahead of Houston for the worst record. So I think they cannot really afford winning. So I think the Heat will get the W here. Denver Nuggets at the Houston Rockets. 8.5 is a spread. I make this 7.5. I'm not touching Denver's games until we see them playing against good teams without Murray. We haven't seen yet, of course. They only had one game so far. Obviously, Houston doesn't count as a good team, but I really want to see how they approach the game with the Murray injury, which is huge for them. Houston lost 4 straight, 1-9 in the last 10. As I said, half game behind Miami for the worst record. They are just completely lost. I don't think you will find value in fading them, and I think at 8.5 you are asked to pay a little bit of an extra with Denver. Portland at San Antonio, 1.5 is the spread. Portland a road favorite. I'm liking Portland here. They aren't playing great basketball. This isn't a good team, but I don't think this is where their train stops. I think they should be able to comfortably beat a team like San Antonio. This will be a first round exit for the Blazers in the playoffs for sure. But I mean, the Spurs, their defense just completely disappeared. I've mentioned this multiple times. They were top 10 defense, top 8 defense for most of the season. Now they grade as 24th in the last 2 weeks, but they have been consistently grading as a bottom 10 defense for more than a month now. Portland has been making defensive improvements, and the offense hasn't been really struggling because we always see teams that make defensive improvements that the offense just kind of suffers as a result. But here it wasn't really the case. Blazers fully healthy on extra rest. They are putting up the second most threes in the league. They are 6th in field goal percentage from 3-point range, and the Spurs defense just grading 18th. Overall, Spurs just 3-7 in the last 10, and yeah, they as I always say, they have good fundamentals, good turnover rate, good free throw rate, but that hasn't been really enough lately. I think they should be closer to 2.5, to be honest, and this is a good matchup for the Blazers, and they should get the W here. New York Knicks at the Dallas Mavericks. Interesting game. I'm really looking forward to this. Knicks have won, I think, 4 straight now, 5 straight. But as I said, I'm not a huge believer in them. They had the easiest schedule up until now in the entire league, and they face the 6th most difficult schedule for the rest of the way. While the Mavs will enjoy the easiest schedule for the rest of the way. I think the Mavs have the higher ceiling, while New York has a pretty strong floor with their good defense and rebounding. I'm not sure how this plays out, to be honest. Big issue, Noel is questionable for the Knicks, and obviously Mitch Robinson still out. So we could see like Taj Gibson back in the rotation, which is not really something anyone who likes the Knicks wants. But this is still the best defense against three-pointers, and that's kind of enough, could be enough to slow down the Mavs. We know that the Knicks play really tough basketball. I'm really liking the effort. I think 5 is completely fair. 5.5, what we see on Pinnacle, might be a bit too much, and this is leaning towards 6 also. I'm not sure if this game is on the board. It might be off the board, but I mean, at 6, I would likely look at the Knicks, to be honest. I'm not a huge believer long term, but they should be fine here, and I think they will be able to hang, and they don't get blown out. The Knicks very rarely get blown out. All right, summing it up, yeah, a lot of games, but not a lot of great looks. Obviously, we are deep into the season. Lines are going to get more efficient. I'm liking Memphis at 3.5. I think if you get a flat 3.5 somewhere, that's a bet. Not sure I would play these U's, but definitely the side I'm looking at. Portland, I think, on a money line or laying just 1.5. This should be 2.5. And yeah, Knicks at 6. I think that's starting to get interesting. And I would probably also follow the injury news in the Philly game. I'm kind of expecting Harris to play, and if Kawhi sits and you get a cheap money line with Philly, I think they are the side. All right, let's switch to MLB. We have a really weird slate, a lot of guys scratched, stuff like that. So we will just run through it. Not a lot of looks I'm liking, but I will tell you which games I'm looking at right now. See, so first game, Atlanta at the Cubs. It seems like starters were supposed to be Smiley against Davis, but Davis got scratched, or at least he's no longer showing up on MLB.com. That's the resource I use for the official pitchers. So we could see something here. I think I cannot really blame the odds makers making the Braves a favorite here. There are question marks around the Cubs offense and around Davis as well. So my line would be just Atlanta minus 104. So basically almost to pick 'em. But the Cubs are betting 163 right now, and Davis is struggling. In the last start, his changeup was super off, and he gave up 7 earned runs against Pittsburgh. So yeah, he might not start here, but if he starts tomorrow, I'm not backing him. Smiley, on the other end, I think he's okay, even if he's coming off a bad game. But as I said, we will find value on the Cubs, but their betting average will normalize. I would just need a trustworthy pitcher on the mound to back them, and Davis right now is not a guy like that. Arizona at Washington, Widener at Scherzer. Obviously, minus 200 favorite. Max Scherzer, still a top 10 guy. I do have questions about Arizona right now. They are 26 in xWOBA and 21st in WRC plus offensively. Widener, yeah, very inconsistent. He had 2 starts so far at the Padres and against the Reds, and he wasn't really bad, but inconsistent, and I cannot really get on board with again an offense that has really no floor or ceiling, or a guy who is extremely inconsistent. Against the Reds, he went just 5 innings and he had 3 Ks with just 23% called strikes plus whiffs. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I make this minus 178 with Washington. So basically, the buyback has no value on Arizona at plus 181. I'm not going to get involved. St. Louis at Philadelphia, Carlos Martinez at Zach Eflin. I think the current line minus 138 is super fair. I understand it. Philly is the better team. Eflin, I think, is the better overall pitcher. Some issues with Carlos Martinez. His first outing, his velocity was up to like 94 miles per hour. It was down to 92 for the second outing. Eflin got hit in the second start, but they were back-to-back starts again against Atlanta. I have been talking about this yesterday, as Eflin was supposed to start yesterday. Back-to-back starts against strong teams is really difficult for the pitcher, and they are likely getting hit a bit more in the second start. So yeah, I'm liking Eflin, I'm liking Philly. I'm very close to this number, so no bet from me. Tampa Bay at the New York Yankees, Michael Waka fame. Montgomery was supposed to be the starter here, but he is again a guy that's scratched. There is no official starter announced for the Yankees, and Montgomery has been pushed to tomorrow. I'm talking a few words on him. I'm liking Montgomery. He start against Tampa Bay. It was his second start. He did look okay in the first, but his second start was pretty bad. Fastball velocity was down a bit, but I mean, Tampa Bay is a team that's a bit slept on. I don't think You can fault anyone for a mediocre outing, but I'm still a huge believer in Montgomery. Great talent, good pitching development. Obviously, in New York, I think he will put it together. But I wouldn't back him in another start against Tampa Bay after struggling against them the first time. Michael Walker, I think. He has been looking kind of mediocre, but if you look into the underlying metrics, I mean, he has been getting extremely unlucky. Just 54% left on base rate, almost more than a 400 batting average on balls in play. His FIP is half of his ERA. So yeah, things will stabilize, but he has been pitching against the Yankees the last time out. So both guys will pitch against the same opponent, and the Yankees put up 3 runs on him, 3 homers in just 4 innings, and he also walked 3. The first outing against Boston was a bit better if you look at the underlying numbers. So yeah, either way, I'm not touching either guy here. If Montgomery starts tomorrow, I might get involved, but we will see. San Francisco at Miami, Tony Disco at Daniel Castano. I think that's the guy's name. Castano is obviously, I talked about Miami's starting pitching issues. They have 2 or 3 arms on the injury list. This will be Castano's season debut. He only pitched 29 innings last year, 4 innings per start. So he isn't someone who will go deep into this game. He almost had a 6 Sierra last year, just a 10% K rate. Almost a 9% walk rate. This is not an interesting guy. Miami, obviously not a good team. Tony Disco, I mean, this dude, if you look at his stats from last season, like 5.5 Sierra, 15% K rate, lefties were hitting him hard. But there are many guys in the sabermetrics community who loved him, and I kind of agree that he has upside. Lefties were hitting him hard, and he had walk issues. But in the last outing against Colorado, he went to 6 innings with 8 Ks and 0 earned runs in 94 pitches. This is an easy matchup. I think Tony Disco will likely roll here. But he's a bit overpriced. I think minus 140 on the road is a bit too much. Although you are basically betting against Castano with that as well, and it doesn't look very likely that he will succeed here. White Sox at Boston, C's at Pivetta. We have no line here. I'm looking forward to this game. This is one I might bet. Cease is not a guy I'm really thinking is a major league ready arm. His last outing, he only went 4 innings against KC, gave up 3 walks. The swinging strikes weren't really there. Command was really bad. I'm not liking him, and Boston, I mean, they are kind of rolling right now at home. Pivetta went against Baltimore. 6 innings, 4 earned runs allowed, but he had 7 Ks, missed some bats. I think overall he's still the more talented guy. Issue here: 12 miles per hour wind blowing in center field, 60% chance of rain. So this might be a postponement. We will have to see. Obviously, if I have a play on this game, and I would probably look at Boston or nothing. I will upgrade. I will give it out in the Discord channel later. I would make Boston around minus 120 here, so I think they should be favored. Although, as I said, I'm really, really low on C's here. Cleveland at Cincinnati, Logan Allen and Jeff Hoffman. Logan Allen pitched a game against KC and then a game against Detroit. Overall, his numbers are okay, but really nothing flashy. Last season, he had 3 starts and almost had a 6 Sierra, only a 14% K rate, 14% walk rate, not missing enough bats, 90 mile per hour plus average exit velocity, 35% hard hit rate. Not a guy I'm liking, but the Cleveland pitching development is amazing. If something can get the shit together for this guy, it's them. We will see how this goes, but I would definitely not pitch Allen against Cincinnati, one of the hottest offenses in the league right now. Jeff Hoffman, on the other end, again, not really a guy I'm super excited to back. He had only pitched 21 innings last year, 4.6 Sierra, almost a 2 whip, almost a 10% walk rate, 42% hard hit rate. And he was pitching bad at Arizona in his recent outing. So yeah, I'm not touching either guy. This I could see some runs here, to be honest. Baltimore at Texas. Jorge Lopez at Faulty. Faulty is a guy that I think many will blindly bet here, but I'm not buying what I saw from him so far. So if you just look at the surface stats, he had 10 strikeouts in 11 innings, only 5 earned runs against Toronto and San Diego. But if you look into the stats, he had a 92 mile per hour exit velocity across the two starts, a 90% left on base rate, a 120 batting average against. I think he has been getting lucky. In the last start, he only had a 22% call strikes plus whiffs. Command is very off. He didn't gain any velocity. He was a super high velo guy back in the days, but he didn't regain that. I'm thinking that Faulty might get hit here. And on the other end, Lopez, I mean, he is also pretty bad. 92.5 mile per hour average exit velocity, only a 16% K rate from last year, 8.7% swinging strike rate. Lefties have been really hurting him. This year, in 8 innings, he has 7.2 FIP against the Yankees and Boston. Obviously, this is a huge step down in opponent quality for Lopez against Texas. But yeah, to me, this would be an overplay. But they are playing in Texas, wind blowing in like crazy. I will look at the weather updates later. This might be a play, but yeah, it's basically I'm just not trusting either pitcher, and these are two bottom five bullpens also so far. So this could be an interesting one. But again, similarly to the Boston game, I cannot say anything right now as I don't have the required weather info. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee, Brubaker at Hauser. This is an interesting game. I'm liking both pitchers, and I'm not liking either offenses. So naturally, this is an underlook in my opinion. I think 8.5 was the starting total. I think that's way too high, especially as it seems like Yelich will miss the game for the Brewers. He will get reevaluated after Milwaukee's off day, so that should be like tomorrow, in my opinion. So I don't think they will risk him here. And obviously, we still know that Pittsburgh is still without Hayes, so that's obviously an important bet and their best offensive piece missing from the lineup. So both lineups are missing their best guy here, and I'm not high on either Hauser or Brubaker, but I think both are kind of okay. Brubaker pitched against the Reds and the Cubs in his first two outings. In 9 innings, he struck out 10, only gave up 2 earned runs. I think everything is fine. He's not like a great arm, but we know that Milwaukee is currently in the bottom 10 in all offensive metrics, and they are without their best bat, of course. On the other end, Adrian Hauser, he has pitched one game against Minnesota, one game against the Cardinals. He only has 7 strikeouts in 10 innings, but he had a 68% ground ball rate. Overall, I'm kind of liking what I see so far, and this Pittsburgh offense is just really bad. They are 21st in X4, but Milwaukee is 18th. But if you look at WRC plus, Milwaukee is 28th. So yeah, these are two okay arms and two terrible offenses, and we get an 8.5 each total. That's in my opinion a bit too high. Toronto at KC, Steven Matz at Mike Minor. Again, these aren't amazing arms, but they are, I think, both like borderline top 100. I grade Mets a bit higher. I understand why they are slight road favorites with the Jays. Minor had some velocity issues in his second start, but overall, I think it's still kind of promising what we've seen from him. He had 9 strikeouts in 10 innings, only 5 earned runs, and the second outing came against the White Sox, and I think that's not an easy outing, but we saw the velocity dip in that game. I'm not going to touch this game, but I'm liking both arms. Matt's pitched against Texas and LA so far. He had 13 strikeouts in 12 innings, only 2 earned runs, 55% ground ball rate. There is a 90 mile per hour wind blowing in dead center and the 70% rain. So yeah, this is another game where I will have like a weather update later. Normally, I would probably look at the under here. I'm kind of liking both arms. If this game plays and the weather is bad and the wind is blowing in, I think that's a W for an under. New York Mets at Colorado. The Grom. Yeah, this was supposed to be Joey Lucchesi, whom I really like, but he got pushed to tomorrow. So we got the Grom. I think this will be a minus 250 at least with the Mets. Gonzalez is a terrible pitcher. I don't like Colorado. I think, yeah, the Mets will win this game, but they will likely be overpriced. Minnesota at the LA Angels. This will be an interesting one. Louis Thorpe is starting for Minnesota. I almost had to Google the guy. He pitched 16 innings last year, only 2 innings per game. He had a 6+ SIERA, 2+ WHIP, 13% walk rate, just an 8% swinging strike rate, and he's making his first start against LA on the road. I think this could turn into ugly. Heaney came off a great start against the Jays in his last outing, 6 innings, 9 Ks, 0 earned runs. Velocity was still up. Only issue I had is the high exit velocity. His average exit velocity was 96 miles per hour, but that should probably normalize. I would make the Angels with Heaney at least like minus 127, probably minus 133, around that. We will see where this opens up, but this is definitely a game I'm looking to bet, and I'm looking at the Angels. Detroit at Oakland, Urena at Frankie Montas. The line is minus 178. I didn't understand why Oakland got disrespected last night. We got on Oakland at minus 158. It closed minus 175. This is basically the reopen here. I'm in no value here. I make this minus 170. Frankie Montas is okay. He is coming off a great game against Houston. He only gave up 1 earned run in 6 innings, went 100 pitches. Fastball is pretty amazing. He got killed by the Dodgers in his first start, but Detroit is bad. Urena on the other end, this is the guy I'm fading the most. I think in the last 5 years, he was never good. He's terrible this year. In 7 innings, he has a 6 FIP so far this season, and he pitched against Minnesota and Cleveland. Okay, that's some legit competition, but still, as I said, the Oakland should get the W here, but no edge. LA Dodgers at San Diego. This will be, this was supposed to be a bullpen game, but we have a guy called Weathers called up by the Padres to make the start. He missed the entire 2020, as I saw, and before that, he pitched in single A ball. He has, I think, a total of 6 innings in the majors. That's not something you can take away anything from, to be honest. So basically, this could be likely a bullpen game for the Padres. Their bullpen is top 3. Their FIP is right now below 3. Obviously, Buehler, top 10 arm. Dodgers likely a bit overpriced. Start going against a newcomer and or a possible bullpen game. Minus 150 is not something you really wanna lay here. Final game. This is an interesting one. Houston at Seattle. My man Jose at Kikuchi. This will be an underlook for me, and the reason is that Houston got hit by COVID yesterday. Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, Garcia, all on the injured list. list. Obviously, uh, there's their DH and the Altuve and Bregman. I mean, that's a huge hit to this Houston offense. Kikuchi is a guy I'm liking his stuff. He's the lone to me the lone interesting pitcher in Seattle. So far this season, he has 4.4 FIP. He pitched 6 innings twice, has 16 strikeouts in just 12 innings, only allowed 5 earned runs. Last season, he had 4.3 Sierra, 12% swinging strike rate, 52% ground ball rate, great contact metrics. Against both sides. Basically, walks were his only issue. So if he can cut back on those, and so far he only walked 3 in 12 innings, which is not great, but okay. I think he will be fine. Obviously, pitching against the depleted Astros team is huge. And on the other end, Seattle is kind of the worst team right now. Jose had 10 innings and he pitched back-to-back against Oakland, a way tougher opponent than Seattle. He has a 2.6 FIP in 2 starts and struck out 12 in just 10 innings. I liked him last season. I'm liking him this year. I think Mariners are a super easy matchup. He went above 90 pitches in both of his starts. I think he could go like 7 innings even here if things work out here for him. So yeah, this is in a pitching stadium with 2 okay pitchers, a bad Seattle team and a depleted Houston team. An underlook for me, to be honest. All right, so summing it up, games I'm looking at. I will be waiting for the Red Sox opener. I'm kind of leaning towards backing Pivetta here if we get something close to a pick'em. I think Pivetta is easily the better arm here. I really don't like Cease, to be honest. We will need weather updates in the Texas game. If this plays, to me, this is an overlook. These are 2 difficult offenses to trust, but 2 bad bullpens, 2 bad starting pitchers. I think Faulty isn't anything special, and he isn't fixed, but he had 2 okay starts. He might be, the market might think he is fixed, but he really isn't, in my opinion. We will see here. I think both teams will be able to put up some runs. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee, I said I'm liking both pitchers. Both teams are missing their best offensive player. I think these aren't great arms, but arms that are able to just keep the run total in control. Toronto at KC, again, I'm liking both pitchers. There is a weather question mark here. This is another game where I will have to look if it even plays. 70+% shot of rain, so this might be a postponement. But I'm liking both arms here. Angels, I will be looking to back Heaney. I think he should be around -130. Louis Thorpe, not an arm I really like. I think he's really a fade candidate here, and there will be probably maybe value here on the Angels. And in the Houston game, Houston got hit by a wave of COVID related injuries, so they will miss their 3 of their 4 best bats, and both Jose and Kikuchi are nice arms, and I kind of like the under here in a good pitching park. All right, thanks for tuning in. This was a bit longer than I expected, but we had tons of games. It's really an interesting MLB slate. It's sad that I couldn't really give out more, but we don't have lines, and I will really need to wait for more weather updates in these games. So thanks for tuning in. No stream on the weekend. I will be back on Monday. Good luck with your wagers. If you want to tell mine, you can go to patreon.com/thebettors and join the crew. I'm posting my plays even on weekends there. So enjoy your weekend. See you on Monday, and thanks for tuning in as always.